All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Kelvechio. Welcome back to the channel. And Arsenal 2, Bayer Leverkusen 0. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the game, but it was really exciting game. This is exactly what we've been calling for. And again, it shows the difference in the leagues when Arsenal playing in the Premier League where teams sit deep and we face a low block and it's a lot harder to break them down. But this performance was right on time, especially as we look forward to the game against Manchester City this weekend in the Carabao Cup final, right? So, yeah, I'm pumped. I watched the game and I was just excited, and I saw so much of our attacking football coming out. And just, I'm going to highlight some of the players. This is not going to be a player review per se, but I want to shout out a few players because I'm really starting to get the vibe and fall in love with Eze in an Arsenal shirt. And my number one hope right now is that when Odegaard comes back and he's fit, I'm really hoping that Arteta does not disrupt the team by putting Odegaard back in straight away, right? That's what he did the last time. He put Odegaard back in. He put Eze on the bench or on the left wing. It disrupted the entire team. And of course, this was the team that beat Bayern Munich. And when Eze was in the team and he got a run of games, we would have won. So again, Arteta, please don't mess up a good thing. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Keep the team the same. Then you have impact players like Madueke, Dauman. You have special talent on the bench who could come on and change the game for us, especially if we need a goal and we need to speed up our final third play. So let's look at the performance, right? Tonight we saw an Arsenal that was on a different level, right? You could see the gulf in the teams in terms of class, quality, uh, and again, Declan Rice, right? When it matters, this guy is a machine. This is my captain. I've always said that. Declan Rice is my guy. He is the guy. Declan Rice steps up when he needs to. And to be honest, 2-0 was flattering to Leverkusen, right? In the first half, if we're taking more of our chances, it could have been four, it could have been five. And especially if Saka passed more often, he was just taking too many touches. I don't know. I think the whole Starboy thing has got into his head. I'm a big Saka fan, but it seems like he's just he's forcing it a bit much, right? He's just doing a little bit too much. Rather than lay off the pass, which he did for one chance where he passed it to Trossard and then the keeper made a great save. If Saka was passing more often and looking for players like Gyokeres and Martinelli, Trossard, if he passed more often, I think he would get more chances and the team would do a lot better. So I would just say I think Saka should just not try to force it, not try to score every single chance that he gets. Yes, you are the highest earner of the team right now. Yes, you signed a big contract, but get back some of those assists, right? Because some of the shots are not on. He takes them and it's like, it doesn't work. But like I said, I'm not here to be negative. This was an awesome performance today. The team was fast, direct, right, creative, especially with Eze linking up with Gyokeres, and all around impressive performance, right? And for those people saying that we play boring, are you not entertained, right? This was entertaining football, which shows that we can do it, especially if teams come out and try to play against us. Then our flair players, our creative players have a field day. And of course, Declan Bumbleclad Rice, he steps up, right? So keep in mind, guys, and this is a real deal. It's a real thing. There's a big difference of playing in the Premier League versus playing in Europe, right? The Premier League, just look at the game against Everton this past weekend, right? Everton, who sits in mid-table in the Premier League, not quite mid-table, but a little higher up, they were so much more difficult to break down compared to Leverkusen. And Leverkusen a couple of years ago won the league in Germany. They're number two or number three in the German league, and they're up there. But Everton is a lot harder to beat, in all honesty, than Leverkusen. Shows you the difficulty and why the Premier League is the toughest league in the world. Because in the Premier League, guys, let's be real. In the Premier League, and this is why Barcelona found it really tough against Newcastle, and Lamine Yamal didn't get a sniff, right, in the game against Newcastle, because in the Premier League, a lot of the teams are a lot more physical They press like crazy, right? And defenders, look at Gabriel Magalhaes. Defenders defend with their whole body. They put their life on the line for defending. And then they close the spaces so quickly. So a lot of the creative players, a lot of the number 10, the flair players, they don't get a lot of space in the Premier League compared to La Liga and Germany and whatnot. So this is a big difference. In Europe, you get more time, you get more space, and you can create some more magic. But in the Premier League, you don't get that time. You don't get that luxury, right? So in terms of breaking down the game, in terms of numbers wise, we only had 41% possession, but we still dominated. And I think the reason being because we went up, we scored, we were up, so they had to chase the game. We allowed them to have the ball, and we tried to break them and beat them on the counter attack, right? And what we saw was an Arsenal that were faster in transition, right? More aggressive on the press, more aggressive going forward, less sideways passes. And one of the big things that I saw, which was really noticeable, was the position and the tactics employed by Martin Zubimendi. When he got the ball, his first pass was more forward passing, turn around, try to pass the ball, advance the ball. In the previous game at Leverkusen, every single time he got the ball, literally he would pass the ball backwards or sideways, but more often than not, backwards to the defenders, to Gabriel and Saliba. In today's game, there was more intent. He actually tried to turn more often and try to pass forward as opposed to passing backward. And I could see the huge difference in terms of his approach. And I think this is what contributed to our guys, especially our forward players like Eze, getting on the ball deeper in the final third and being more aggressive and being in the right places, right? So I just want to, like I said, I don't want to do a player by player rating because that's going to take too long. But I just want to shout out a few players. So Eze is becoming the man, right? Eze is becoming the new star boy, in my opinion. He is taking on the mantle of making magical moments happen, and he has that in his locker. Left foot, right foot. This guy is deadly when it comes to striking the ball, right? So that finish today, insane. That's going to be played so many times over and over again. Definitely one of the goals of the season. And one of the things about Eze was when he's confident, you could tell in his stride. You could tell by the way he takes on crosses and shots that no other player does, right? Martin Odegaard would never score a goal like that because he doesn't have it in his locker. Eze does. If Eze could add stuff like free kicks, which we know he has, but if he can do it on a consistent basis and become a threat, um, well, he is a threat. But what I'm saying is, if he could score more goals more consistently, he's going to be one of the players to look out for in all of Europe, attacking wise. I mean, I believe he has that potential. So the sky's the limit for Eze. And of course, we have to shout out Declan Rice. Declan Rice, the general, my captain, Captain Arsenal. That guy is immense. He's a machine. Declan Rice is able to shift gears when every other player is running on empty, right? Every other player is totally burnt out and gassed. Declan Rice in the second half, when he needs to, when he moves to the sixth position, this guy covers yards. He bombs forward. Of course, his goal was great and amazing. But Declan Rice, man, I'm actually running out of words to describe Declan Rice and how much I respect him. I appreciate him. Definitely, without a doubt, I would say Gabriel is maybe a not too far, not too distant second in player of the season. In my opinion, has to be Declan Rice. If Rodri won the Ballon d'Or, Arsenal Arsenal win the Premier League this year, Declan Rice will win the Ballon d'Or, right? Especially if a team outside of Europe wins the World Cup, for example. But if a team in Europe wins the World Cup and their team does well in the Champions League, of course, there's a chance he doesn't win it. But I think if Arsenal win the Champions League and we win the Premier League, Declan Rice is hands down the Ballon d'Or this year, right? This is why I'm just so impressed with him. Lastly, I want to shout out Gyokeres. He didn't score, but his work ethic, his running, his work off the ball, his physical presence, his hold up play, this guy, I mean, you could see the difference when Kai Havertz came in versus what Gyokeres gives us. He is that outlet that we can put the ball straight in the middle, also on the wings, on the channels, and he runs, he chases lost causes, he helps us to advance, to relieve some pressure of the entire team. In my opinion, all of the big games, Gyokeres has to start because he's the best center forward that we've had in a long, long time. And just in terms of his all-round goal contribution, even when he's not scoring, he's a physical presence that we need. Saka did well. Not, of course, not his best game. He's not been playing well the last few games, in my opinion. I would rest Saka. Like I said, I would give it to um, Madueke to start and then bring Saka on just to relieve some of the pressure on Saka. I feel like he's just taking on too much and then he's kind of killing just natural flow of the game. Martinelli, Trossard, those guys had good performances. This is one of the better performances from Trossard in a few games as well. So Trossard did really well. He looked a lot sharper, but he always does. He always looks better in the Champions League versus the Premier League because, of course, he has more space, more time, and less physical pressure on him in the Champions League. So just kind of zooming out, kind of bringing this one to a close, guys. The focus has to shift. I mean, this is a great win, but of course, we can't dwell on it too much because we have the big game against City on the weekend, right? So the focus has to shift to the weekend, right? We saw other teams, other English teams bowing out, getting knocked out. City got knocked out by Real Madrid, and deservedly so. They lost it in the first leg. Chelsea again getting knocked out and battered actually at home, which shows you the quality of PSG. In my opinion, still the team to beat in the league, in the Champions League. So between City and Bayern Munich, these are the two best teams in my opinion. So thankfully they're gonna knock one of them has to go out because they're on the same side of the draw. But Arsenal can do something very, very special this season. We're still in the FA Cup. Man City has to play Liverpool, so one of the big dogs are going out again. So more than likely we'll get to the quarterfinals or the semifinals of the FA Cup, in my opinion. We are 9 points clear on top of the league, and we're gonna win the league, right? And in the final of the Carabao Cup. If we can win the Carabao Cup, then definitely we can do a treble. I'm not speaking of the quadruple, that's fantasy, right? I think it's possible, but it's very highly unlikely. I think we can do a treble if we win the Carabao Cup. We can win the FA Cup or the Champions League and also win the Premier League. So it's all there, guys. It's all there. We are so close to making this season a season that we'll never forget and one of the best in Arsenal's history ever. And all those who were saying Ateta out, there you go. Trust the process, guys. We are so close. And we just have to now support the boys, rally around the troops, to a final push, especially this weekend, right? And let's make it happen. All right. So I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Who was your player of the match? How did you assess the game? And are you confident that we're gonna win and beat City this weekend? Looking forward to hearing from you. Until then, bye for now.